الحمد لله الحمد لله الذي له جنود السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله العليم الكريم والصلاة والسلام على نبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون. Respectful my friends, brothers and sisters, in some previous Jummah as well, the topic in the discussion has been the importance of associating with the ulama, the importance of valuing the ulama. And this topic came about due to the increase of demais amongst the ulama kiram, and that to great ulama. In last week's Jummah I had mentioned that one of, or a concern that exists related to this matter is that there was a time wherein unfortunately the general masses were not associating themselves with the ulama, not deriving benefit as much as they should do of the ulama, not valuing the ulama, and finding it difficult to, or rather a case of laziness, to actually attend such programs, gatherings which are based on ilm and deen. And then alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us social media and various platforms, online platforms, wherein activities within the masjid could be relayed to those outside the masjid. This began many years ago with the analog receiver system, which majority of Muslim homes would possess the receiver, wherein they would be hearing the azan, they would be listening to the salat and whatever programs took part in the masjid. And the reason for this was initiated so that the women folk, they can also be part of the masjid. They can also listen to the programs within the masjid. And for them, maximum benefit for them is within that. It is not necessary for them that they need to be in the presence of the masjid to benefit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them their benefit by being within the home. So this was initiated so that the women folk could benefit, and alhamdulillah for many years they did. Although gradually the receiver system then became old-fashioned, or you can say it became something that secondary, because the screens became larger and larger and they took precedence. So the receiver systems, the situation there was, the receiver system, that became replaced then. Replaced in the sense that it will still remain within our homes, but instead they were placed where they were placed away in the rooms that we do not use, so it's there at a distance, and not in prime use. And then gradually, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created further means for us in the form of online streaming, etc. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped us and assisted us in that manner. This, which was a medium, and then we had the online streaming, whatever medium we have which streams online. Again, this is further benefit for who? Greater benefit for the women folk. But then eventually what started happening is that instead of it being in the homes for the sake of the women folk to benefit from, the men folk became lazy and they started benefiting from it as well. Meaning that the same women folk, same men folk who would have sat within the masjid and listened to whatever talks take place within the masjid, they now they would be in the same masjid, but they would get up, leave the masjid, they would go home, sit on the sofa, relax there, and listen to the same talk at home. For them it would be that this is more comfortable. Instead of sitting in the masjid, and in the masjid you can have to sit with some form of adab, respect, with etiquette. You're going to have to be concentrating as well. The speaker will be observing who is attentive, who isn't attentive, who is snoozing and who is awake. So instead, let us just sit at home. And sat at home, we can listen to the talks, put our feet up a bit, get some maybe popcorn and hot chocolate or something as well, if it's a long conference. So we'll sit and listen to it at home. Whereas the haqiqat reality is that these mediums, where the haqiqat reality is that, you make your bubble instead. The haqiqat and the reality became such then that okay, 18. It's okay. Try to maximize as many people within the Jamaat as possible. So overall, in this manner, as I was mentioning to you, that instead of the men folk benefiting directly from within the masjid, they started benefiting from home. Whereas this medium was actually for who? Was for the women folk. And then there was always that claim, there's always that effort made that the men folk to try and attend the masjid, interact and associate with the ulama, benefit from the ulama. Then eventually, by the means of the social media that we have and the various online mediums, which has its benefits, now what we find is another extreme, that instead of us being in front of the ulama and benefiting directly from them, we are benefiting from ulama, but we, again, the lazy manner. And the lazy manner is that instead of us actually partaking and going to any class or going to any discourse itself, just sit at home, again, and in the comfort of our home, and just listen to whoever we want to through YouTube and other mediums. And one of the harms of this that I mentioned in last week's Jummah was that in doing so, we are actually depriving us, although we are listening to many ulama who are on the right path as well, and we will benefit and we can benefit from it. But what we are depriving ourselves is that we are depriving ourselves of that direct link with the ulama. And especially when what does occur is that if we are especially listening to ulama who may not be within our country, then matters can become a little confusing as well, especially when it comes to question and answer times. As certain questions and certain answers, certain matters in the talk may be related to certain places of the world. So it's unnecessary that they would apply to us. So that was one harm, that instead of us associating directly with ulama where we can directly benefit from them. And remember, where a talk takes place, as I mentioned to you, alhamdulillah, the receiver system, the online systems, all these that we have, it is for the benefit of those who are away from the masjid. The benefit of the women folk who may not be able to attend, who cannot attend the majlis program, it is for them. And those who are able to, this way as I mentioned to you, with regards to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, if Allah Ta'ala wanted to, Allah Ta'ala could give him a boat where he was, but Allah Ta'ala called him to the mountain. So in this manner, the closer a person is to the fire, the heat, those who are closest to the fire will perceive the heat more. Dini discourses, the most benefit is when we actually are close, when we attend such programs. That is one harm that had been mentioned, which I just sort of recapped in last week's Jummah. Another harm, my dear friends, of this attitude of ours of not actually seeking who are the ulama and going to and just relying on these mediums of YouTube. And that is that a person can very easily become misled by these mediums as well. And this is by means of experience too. By means of experience, this is something that has been established. It is something which ek masla ye bhi bayan kar deta hu, at this moment in time with all this social distancing, wherever you get a seat, alhamdulillah, you'll get the reward of the first and second saf, inshallah. Balke, whoever is in the first and the second saf is in the first saf anyway, and maybe even to the third, because otherwise, those who are in the third saf at the moment, if there wasn't distancing, you would have been in the first, in the front saf as it is. So inshallah, you'll all get the sawab for being in the front saf anyway, because it's not by choice that you're sitting towards the back. You might be put there for the sake of accommodating more Muslims, so the more sacrifice you make, you get double sawab, and you'll get the reward of being in front as well, inshallah. My dear friends, one of the other harms of social mediums, especially YouTube, is, and this is something that is happening within the community, and we all know, we've been on it. You'll go on to one video, for instance, you might be listening to one talk, and then you have other alternates on the side as well. So you might just listen to a little, find, well, this is a bit boring, maybe or not what I wanted to, then you click on this, or this seems interesting, this seems interesting, this seems interesting. And then what happens is, from one lecture that you started off with, you jump about, and you go from here, there, and you end off where you don't even realize. And what happens is this is not necessary that whoever we are listening to, we even know, as Ibn Sirin mentions, that look, deen is what? Ilm is deen. And when ilm is deen, then be cautious from who you acquire your deen from. Very important that you know who you are acquiring your deen from. And what happens here is that when we do not know, that's why whoever we may be regularly listening to as well, we should inquire from our ulama as well, that is it fine, should I be listening to these ulama as well? They are also ulama, we're not saying that they are not scholars. We're not saying they do not have knowledge, they have knowledge, they are scholars as well. But we should still inquire that, look, are these the right source and medium of ilm and knowledge for us as well? Because, and I mentioned this not long ago, the member of the masjid is specific. For example, no person will just come, besides the imam or whoever is the ulama of that masjid, no other person will just be able to come and sit on the masjid and say, look, today I want to give a talk on whatever topic, sit on a member and give a talk. It is exclusive to the ulama, and the masjid will obviously vet, they'll realize who is talking, who isn't. Whereas social media, for example YouTube, that is an open platform. Any person can say whatever they want to. Any person can post a video on any topic that they want to, speak anything, whether it is correct or whether it's not correct, in any field and any science of life. It's a very open medium, everybody has access to it. So when that is the case, there is always that possibility that those who are on there are not actually on the path of haqq, they may not be of the same aqeedah as us, and we are unaware of this, and we start listening to these type of things. We start listening to these type of program, bayans and that. Too many disturbances. So, very, very important. And one example, to round up my defense, one example of the harms of this is, and that is, maybe a couple of years ago, one individual, very near to us, this person who was on the haqq on the correct aqeedah, but this person actually left the correct aqeedah of the Ahlul Sunnah and actually became a Shia. And how this person became a Shia is, they didn't have any knowledge, they didn't know anything about Shiism. But same as I mentioned, as many of our youth, unfortunately, instead of attending the programs of the ulama directly in the masjid, just want to sit at home and just listen to and follow the programs on YouTube. So this individual as well, listening to some talks, and as I mentioned to you, what happens is you see those alternate other options as well. Then you'll go here, you'll go there, here you'll go there. You might see some topic. For example, a person may want to know about the fazilat, the virtues of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, for instance. One example. Or you may be listening to something on the topic of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, as I mentioned to you, other options will come about. And in that option as well, there may be somebody who is not speaking in favor of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, but you'll have somebody who may be speaking against Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, and that option will come as well. And what happens is we think out of curiosity, look, the title seems a bit interesting. Let me listen to that as well, and then we click onto there, we go onto there. And then when we go onto that, we find, we may not even know that, look, this person who is speaking is not even of our Aqeedah. It might be a Shia, for example. And now in his speech, what he is doing is he's speaking about the negatives of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, mentioning certain things that we may not be even aware of. And because we are not aware of it, and we're listening to it for the first time, we become intrigued with this. And we start wondering, look, this is something new. And because we've heard something new here now, we'll go on to another video of the same individual, another individual. Then we'll start hearing with regards to matters which may be fabricated. Or if not fabricated, then it might be certain matters that did occur in history amongst the Sahaba Kiram radiallahu ta'ala, but it is portrayed to us in a negative form. So what has happened is that where we set off trying to do what? Listen to something in favor of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, the virtues of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, we wander off, and we end off somewhere else, where the person is actually insulting Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. And then what happens in that is, that he starts drawing doubts within our minds. We start having doubts with regard to the Khilafat of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. So the negative there is that we've already left that session with doubt with regard to a great Sahabi of Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And then now, because insan is insan, you have the curiosity, you want to know more. You might start listening to more, listen to more. And in that process, what does occur is, because insan is lazy, insan is weak. Insan wants, especially when a person is very weak in his iman, that's why the importance of being attached to the ulama who will guide us all along. In that, then what happens is that we'll go off to maybe some other person's talk, wherein they are showing us and portraying us a side of Islam that seems very interesting to us, or very appealing to us, or very easy for us. We start listening to that. And then we think to ourselves that, well, we never heard these type of things. That this person is also supposed to be a scholar, and they are portraying and showing Deen and Islam to us in a manner that we have not heard from the Imam of our Masjid. And this seems very flexible, very open, very easy to follow. So we start listening to that, we start listening further. Eventually, this is what happens is that when we find something a lot easier, especially when a person is a weak Muslim, something very easy to follow upon, then a person gradually leaves the fold of Islam and starts adopting that. And this is what happened to this individual of a good household, a good home, where there is a bit of some deeni mindset as well within that home. But this is how this individual became a Shia. And those within the home were even wondering that they don't even leave the home. One is that you can understand they go to leave the home and they go into a masjid of somebody who is not of the correct Aqeedah, so you already alarm bells that, look, this person is going to the wrong place and that. But within the home, within this home, how did this person become a Shia? No Shia scholar came to his house personally that they know of, or he went to anyone. But because of this, of the YouTube, as I mentioned to you, not being particular of what we're listening to, not inquiring for the ulama what is right and wrong, not directly interacting with the ulama, this individual left the path of haqq, became a Shia, and now is stubborn, firm on it. They don't want to know of anything else at all. No salah, nothing at all, to the extent that this person is even drinking and doing so many other vices as well, which they were not doing before. So aside from the element of the Aqeedah itself, the beliefs, look at the practices are also wrong. And this was somebody, just because out of that, as I mentioned to you, went on to one channel, to another channel, to another channel, and from where to where a person dwells off. That's why it's very, very important. We know that Allah Ta'ala has given us this platform. It is a manner in which it is easy that deen can spread far and wide throughout the world. But we as those who are attending, those who are on these platforms, it is very important for us that we should be disciplined on it. That we control what we're listening to. And this is not without deen. With this, everything else, we all know what sort of things come on it. So all the more we need to be disciplined on it. But at this moment in time, I'm speaking specifically with regards to the deen aspect of it. That we need to be disciplined with regards to who we are listening to. And if by chance somebody may seem to be correct and we go there and we start hearing something which are doubtful and that, just leave it at that time, get out of it, make note of who the scholar is, come to your local scholar and ask them, I was listening to this individual. This is what they were mentioning, is this something correct or not? Sometimes it is correct. But because we haven't heard it before, so we might think it is incorrect. It will be opened up to know that is correct what they're saying and it will be explained to us. Who was the speaker? This is the speaker. No, that is fine. You can listen to such an individual. Or it may be told us, no, look, this you are better off not listening to that individual. Or it will be a case of, look, we do not know who that person is, but instead, look, there is other alternatives that you can listen to. At least we will get that guidance at that time. We will get the guidance of protecting ourselves. So it is a platform, my dear friends. And as I mentioned to you, just the way people become DIYs in so many things as well. Your washing machine doesn't work. Now you don't need to just call somebody out. YouTube is there, it'll help you there. You'll have so many individuals there telling you how to dismantle the whole washing machine and put the whole washing machine back together again. How to dismantle your entire vacuum cleaner and put it back together. You get everything that is there. The platform, it is there, easy for a person. But now, unfortunately, we find so many of our Muslims who are now DIY, becoming DIY, learning deen on their own. Learning deen on their own as well, that instead of attending any class in the masjid, because they're lazy, they don't want to come and attend any class in the masjid. They don't want to interact, they don't want to come and sit in the masjid and listen. Like, mashallah, so many of you are here, alhamdulillah, for Jummah, are listening to the talk as well. The majority will come probably when the khutbah starts because they don't want to. Some may not have the time. There'll be those who just don't want to listen to any talks. But yes, if you're sat at home easily, you don't mind listening to these programs and listening to bayanats and lectures online. So this is where we just learning and we are becoming what we may think that we are becoming stronger and stronger in our understanding of deen by just sitting at home and listening to these programs. Remember, it's not necessary. It is possible that we could be going now. We wanted to go up north. Don't travel at the moment, but we wanted to go up north, you can't go there. But we ended up going down south. You can't go there either. Alhamdulillah, we're still a bit better in Yorkshire, alhamdulillah. We're still in the third tier, alhamdulillah, not so bad. Here Allah Ta'ala clear all the tears as soon as possible, but for that we need to shed some tears as well. But very, very important, my dear friends, that we interact with the ulama. Ask the ulama directly what our questions are, our concerns are, what our doubts are. Where we have programs taking place directly in the masjid, attend those as well as what else we may be listening to. And clarify with the ulama that, look, these are the scholars that I listen to, am I fine, should I continue not? And do not restrict yourselves to that only. And as I mentioned, I gave an example last week, and I'll end on this. That, look, ilm is something which is passed on from heart to heart. The Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala, they didn't seek knowledge online. We're using online mediums nowadays for classes and these things as what? Because of the situation that we're in. But that is not, it was always passed on how? By being in the company of an ustad. Because with the words of the knowledge, the nur of the knowledge is also passed on from the heart. The words are from the tongue, the nur of knowledge is from the heart. If we're just going to be away on the screens listening, we will get the words of the knowledge will come to us, but the nur of that will not come to us. Maybe those who are in some part of the world wherein there is no ulama will benefit on that basis, but those who have access to ulama will always be deprived of the nur of ilm. That's why it's very, very important that we strike the right balance. Interact with the ulama, sit in their programs live as well, and also benefit from the medium that Allah Ta'ala has given us. Allah Ta'ala grant us all understanding and tawfiq wa akhir da'wana.